If you want to turn these steaks into the most golden crust, perfectly crisp, outside, juicy, tender steaks ever, do this technique. It's called a salt brine. You just pat dry them, salt them, put them in the fridge like this on a rack exposed to the air for 24 hours. And tomorrow when I grill these or I pan fry them, the golden crust that you get is the best ever. Pat dry them on both sides. 24 hours. Trust me on this. All right, 24 hours later, and the steaks are ready. So here's the New Yorks. They don't look that different right now. Here's the flat iron. But the thing that is different is they feel kind of dry on the outside, which is the key. See, when you grill a steak, just when you're grilling it normally, you want to pat dry it, salt and pepper it, and then it's ready to go. But when you put it in the fridge like that, it dries out the outside, so it's perfect, and it's removed a lot of moisture too. It's not just dry, it's removed moisture around the outside surface, which is great for creating a nice crust, which is perfect for golden brown goodness. Okay, so there's really nothing else I'm gonna do. I'm barely gonna put some pepper on it, but I'm gonna put the pepper on afterwards. I may salt it just a little bit more, but I'm going to just leave it as it is. Lately, I've been putting pepper on my steaks afterwards. I'm gonna show you how to cook both of these because they do have different methods, and then we'll grub on it and see how it tastes. More importantly, we'll see how the girls like it, including Judy. So I'm gonna cook the New Yorks first. I've got my grill really hot and I've got a cast iron griddle. The reason I do that is because I wanna get a nice crust on this, and to get a crust that's even, that goes across the whole surface, a griddle like that is what you're gonna want, or a flat pan. If you had like a flat cooker, that would be just as good. One thing I want to notate, this is what it looks like after 24 hours. The outside is slightly darker than when I put it in. You could go up to 48 hours or more, but I don't think you need it to go longer than 24 hours. So basically what I'm saying is 20 to 24 hours, plenty good. If you did it up to 40 hours, maybe it might be a little better. What you're gonna notice is gonna start turning almost like a purple color. I'm gonna go ahead and cook these first. First thing I'm gonna do, I don't even need any grease because there's this nice layer of fat which I'm gonna use to grease my surface. Now, I mentioned that this surface is very, very hot. So it's already starting to render that fat out. Now this is hotter than I normally would wanna get it if I was gonna cook it straight on the surface the whole time, like with a normal round cast iron pan. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sear the surface on the cast iron. I'll move it up to the top rack and let it finish cooking up there. Wow, your nails are beautiful, and I also like your dress. Oh, there's Princess of Avalor. Okay, so you can already see that fat really dripping off. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it on its side. I'm gonna do it with all of them right now. Whew. Let's see if this one's got enough. To get it really crusty, what I do is I take a spatula like this and I flatten it. If you get a nice sturdy spatula like this, just go ahead and flatten it and just let it do its thing. So the key to steaks is timing and temperature. You always want to be paying attention to how long it's on each side, and you always want to pay attention to the temp, the internal temp. So that's what I have this for. As I mentioned, I want to get the surface nice and golden brown. That's what that overnight dry brine is going to do for you. It's really called, I think, salt curing. Right now in my mind, I know it's been about a minute, minute and a half. I'm going to go ahead and flip it and do that for another minute and a half. But soon enough, I'm going to temp it. Let me show you what this guy looks like. Whew. Oh, baby, see? That surface, because it's nice and dry and I flattened it onto that surface, that really hot surface, is creating a nice crust. See, look at that. You don't really get that if you don't have that dry surface, and that's why putting it in the fridge for 24 hours, it's a huge game changer for your steaks, really any steaks. You can kind of see there, the inside is still very much rare right now. Oh yeah. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. Flip it over one more time to that first side. It's been about 45 seconds now. Whew. There you go, that's what you're going for right there. Now, what I'm going to do is just cook that side part just for a hot second. I'm not gonna worry about getting a crust on that side. I just wanna cook it so it's not as raw. I am now going to temp the steak. I'm going for 129. What is it? Oh yeah, see that? That still needs quite a bit. So I'm gonna put it on that top shelf along with the other ones. It's just gonna sit there. And then I'm gonna cook that with indirect heat. One thing I do have prepared is some onions. I'm gonna cook these onions on that surface because that surface has a lot of good fat on it from the beef. Don't wanna waste it. Just like that. Just move it around. I'm not gonna really cook it right now. I'm not gonna agitate it. I'm just gonna get it kind of spread out. And then while those steaks are cooking indirectly, I'll go ahead and cover it. Okay, it's been about 3 minutes now. I'm just gonna go ahead and stir those onions a little bit. It's gonna take a while for these onions to really cook down. Okay, so it's about 112, so it's getting there. I bet you in the next 2 to 3 minutes, it's gonna finish. So I'm gonna go ahead and cover it one more time. But before I do that, get a little salt on there. And then close that up. All right, so these steaks are done. I put them on the rack so that they just rest without getting soggy. I mean, it's not super necessary. Yes, there is some blood. It's all good. So what I'm gonna do here is cut one for you to show you how good it looks on the inside. I always cut at an angle. Always have a really nice sharp knife. Oh baby, oh baby. Just get some salt on here. Some pepper. And here's the onions. Be the taste tester.
I know, baby.
I hope you're okay with being on camera too.
There's such a flavor experience that happens there. It's very umami.
Yeah, the umami, that's like actually something that's happening because of the exterior crust. Did you feel the crust of the outside? Like it's almost like crispy?
Feels like it's cooked to perfection.
I can't take full credit. It's the 24-hour fridge technique where you put the salt on it and let it sit, drying out the outside.
Oh my gosh.
Is it buttery?
It's so tender.
I mean, there is butter in there, so.
What is that?
Oh, it's just a New York from Costco.
Oh my gosh. It almost tastes like a Wagyu.
Ooh, it's definitely not Wagyu, but I'm telling you, that's what that salt cure
So
does.
tender. Here, Bella's gonna like this. Okay, girl.
Yeah, these girls love their steak. Hey, does it taste good?
Yeah.
Okay, now we've got the flat iron. This is a rare cut. You can't find this that often. So my grill is super hot, like really hot, blazing hot right now.
Waterfall of butter.
The party is over, kitchen is clean, and I'm proud to say everyone loved the steak, including the girls. I'm telling you, I used to buy Wagyu, specifically American Wagyu, all the time. When I say all the time, like maybe once a month, once every other month. Now I almost never buy it. Number one, because it's so freaking crazy expensive, but especially ever since I found that method, as they say, dry brining, I just don't even need to. That's what's cool. You can take any decent steak and make it taste as good as a Wagyu. I believe Wagyu, for the most part, can be overrated in a lot of cases because of the price. But if you do what I just showed you to do and get that crust, see, that is the key there. You want to get that crust, but typically to get that crust, you have to cook your steak on a really high heat for a while. But by that time, the inside is overcooked or you don't get it to medium rare. Maybe it's like a medium. So if you're trying to get that medium rare or rare, but you want that crust, you want to dry out the outside surface. And that's why salt it, put it in the fridge for at least 24, maybe up to 48 hours. And I'm telling you, it's going to achieve that golden brown crust. Now, don't get me wrong. If you take a Wagyu and you do that, then it's going to be amazing. But that was a Costco steak that cost $16.99 per pound, which is still kind of expensive, but compared to Wagyu, which is being sold at $50 a pound, and probably more if you're gonna do like an A5 Wagyu, just go for whatever steak you can afford, do the dry brine, and I'm telling you, your steaks are gonna be next level. People are gonna just be amazed by the flavor. One more thing that I don't think I mentioned or I showed you earlier. Sorry, we were just eating all the steaks, so I couldn't really vlog that much. Butter. Butter right on top, right when it's resting, and then when you slice it, put a little extra salt, maybe some flaky salt. So good. Shout out to Matt of A Cook Named Matt. He's a good friend of mine. He's the one that showed me this method. In fact, I saw it first in his video, and also Senpai Kai. I follow his YouTube shorts, and he swears by this method, and they're both pro chefs. They were in the kitchen in restaurants for many, many years, and they both do this. And so I just want to give shout outs to the chefs out there sharing these methods, and now I get to share it with you. So I hope you try it. It's amazing. Go to Costco, get one of their decent steaks. Don't even go for the Wagyu. I'm telling you, do this, everyone's gonna love you. Seriously, you'll be the chef to them. All right, I hope you try it, and I will talk to you later.